D, wait for it, light bulb.
Check out the name tag. You're in my world now, Grandma.
What's up, nerds? So today I'm going to be joined by Speed Force Spector. He is a YouTuber on YouTube, obviously, and he does a lot of animation videos and very knowledgeable about animation, more than I am. So I thought, could be better than to sit down with somebody that knows a lot about animation and talk about animated movies that are coming out in 2021 and how excited we are about them. Spectre, did you want to say anything about yourself before we get started?
No, I think you pretty much capped off everything off. I will say this, I'm a huge DreamWorks Trolls fan, so that's probably most of the content you're probably going to see on my channel and also my Twitter account if I'm not talking about other fandom stuff.
Right on. Sorry, I took a sip while you were done talking. So rude, so rude.
No,
Okay, well then for what I wanted to start with first is I wanted to talk to you about some movies that are coming out in 2021. I wanted to talk to you about, who they're from, you think they'll be successful, the animation style and all that good stuff. And I thought we could start off by talking about the movie Rumble. Now, this is a wrestler type-esque movie. In fact, some wrestlers are voice acting in this movie. And it's like these big giant monsters, like basically wrestling, and one of them's kind of like an older monster, and he's trying to get back in the ring or whatnot, and he has a human train him or whatnot. This is being directed by Hamish Garza, that guy, and this is being put out by Paramount, and this comes out May 14th. So what are your thoughts about this movie to start off with?
Okay, so I think it's important to kind of talk about Paramount animation right now.
Yeah.
Okay, so Sponge on the Run I have not seen yet, but I can say this. They've handled it really, really messy, and this was probably, if not, one of the Paramount animated movies that they really needed to kick off their animation, because their last movie was Wonder Park, and that completely bombed and did poorly. They had a TV show in the process that hasn't seen the light of day yet. So Rumble, I will say this, I'm a huge fan of kaijus and stuff, so
for sure.
this is right up my alley. Will Arnett seems to be doing a really good job as the main character. And I like the style it's going for. It's not something you see in the other studios currently, and it has like a futuristic aesthetic to it, because you saw in the trailer a kind of like a hover scooter a little bit.
Yeah.
But in my opinion, I'm questionable on the movie.
What?
Mostly because of Paramount and Wonder Park.
Oh boy.
While I haven't seen that movie, they're not really on a good playing field in terms of their animated movies, unless it's something like SpongeBob or the upcoming Paw Patrol movie, which of course those two are going to do fine given their status currently. But I'm cautiously interested. That's the best way I could say how I feel about Rumble, and yeah, that's about it.
Right on. Yeah. No, that was good. I think it looks good. I think it looks fun. I liked the trailer. I'm, like I said, I'm not too knowledgeable about like animation and everything, but I do enjoy it very much. I have two little ones. We watch them all the time, every Sunday.
I love when you have your little ones, when you do the animated trailers, it's always fun to watch.
Yeah. Well, it's mostly with my daughter, but because she's the older one, and my son, he's 2, so he just like, when it comes to movies, it's usually like if the popcorn and candy's gone and it's not the best movie, where he's usually out. So he's usually just like, I'm out of here. This is fun. So the next movie I wanted to talk about is Spirit, Stallion of the Cimarron. I don't know if that's how you say that.
That is, you're correct.
And this is being directed by Elaine Bognan. Oh gosh, I'm so bad with names. And this is being put out by DreamWorks, and this comes out June 4th. And I just want to say I liked the first Spirit movie. I liked the way it was drawn. I love the animation of that movie and everything. This one has much more to be desired. I think the animation on this, I watched the trailer and I was like, oh, this looks crappy. I don't like this style of.
Remember
I
me
don't know
from the
what style
train?
this is.
I'm
like
sorry to see you all
computer
cooped up in here.
generated weird animation. Yeah, I am not interested in this in any way, shape, or form. The only way I would be interested in it is if my daughter was all like, hey, I want to see this movie. What are your thoughts on it?
I gotta be honest, I had no idea this already had a trailer.
Oh, gosh.
Um, so I haven't seen it, but
You're not
I
missing much.
I will say this though. The original Spirit, I adore that movie, which I need to put it in my DVD collection. But like that's a really excellently drawn, hand-drawn, animated DreamWorks film before Shrek took over and they decided to do more CGI films. And one thing I liked about the movie was it was about a pony turning into a stallion and just kind of living life through monologue. And this horse was just living throughout different time periods. And I really liked how all of it was handled. This Spirit movie thing, it's based on the Netflix show,
Mm.
which I kind of want to go back to it mostly because it's one of those toy type of TV shows. But I remember seeing it on the first two episodes on my Trolls Holiday DVD, and I couldn't really get into it. But I think that was mostly because it wasn't the Spirit I was used to, and it's pretty much a Horseland type TV show where you got a cast of different girls and they're riding horses and they go on adventures or they learn a moral of the day at the end of the day. So it kind of didn't catch my eye right away, but I will say because of that, and it's based on this TV show, which from what I've heard, it's doing DreamWorks excellently right now. The merch is doing well too. But I will say this as a person who watches Trolls the Beat Goes On and all of the other Netflix shows and other streaming service shows, a lot of people don't watch them. And I will say, if this is going to be in theaters, which I'm assuming it is, I don't think a lot of people, especially movie reviewers, I don't think it's going to be reviewed too kindly, given the fact that you're just kind of tossed into this situation. Which is not like the past three SpongeBob movies. I haven't seen the third one, but I know they kind of give you a general basis if you've never seen the series before. And Teen Titans Go to the Movies did the exact same thing. I've seen the My Little Pony movie and I like the movie a lot, but they did a really poor job introducing the main six. So I feel like that might be the problem with this Spirit movie is it doesn't introduce the audience that are like, oh, this is a new animated movie, cool, and don't really know, oh, this is based on a Netflix thing.
Right on. I like that My Little Pony show. I like Twilight Sparkle. She's my favorite.
Pinkie Pie's mine.
Oh yeah, my daughter has Twilight Sparkle, like the toy. She has Pinkie Pie, but Twilight Sparkle, she's always losing it, and she's all like, "Where's my Twilight Sparkle?" And I'm like, "I don't know." Sorry. Side note. Okay,
No,
so then what was
sure.
that? I'm sorry.
I was saying, no, that was cute. Definitely share those things.
For sure. Okay, so the next one is The Addams Family 2. This is being put out by MGM. It's being directed by three directors, Greg Tyrion, Laura Brosawa, and Kevin Pavlovic. Oh, geez. They couldn't just be like Smith. And that comes out Halloween 2021. I don't know if you saw the first one. I saw the first one. I thought it was pretty good. I mean, like I wasn't expecting too much, and I did like the animation in it. I thought it was kind of like very old school, like how the old school cartoons were drawn and everything. So I really liked that a lot. And I enjoyed it. I don't know if you enjoyed it or not. And so, what are your thoughts on Adam's Family 2?
So I was, how should I say this? I'm kind of mixed on the Adams Family movie. I felt like it was good in the first half when it was just the family and they were just messing around in the house. I thought that was good. And I felt like if that was the whole movie, I felt like that would have been fine. But at the same time, I know audiences probably wouldn't so much go for that,
Right
knowing
on.
how past animated movies that are just kind of little vignettes and they don't really
Mhm.
go anywhere, those typically don't do too that great. Shaun the Sheep, the movie is a huge example of that, where it didn't do too well and it's just a bunch of vignettes, but it has a bit of a plot to it. But like once it started to do um like be yourself and other things like that, it reminded me too much of Ugly Dolls, and I felt like Ugly
Oh yeah,
Dolls
yeah, that's
definitely
good.
did it better. And then
Hmm.
also the movie was so similar to Disney Channel Zombies, and
Hmm.
there was just so much of that in that movie and also Ugly Dolls, and the timing was not really perfect for it because it was like we had zombies, Ugly Dolls, and then this movie, so it
Hmm.
really didn't have too much of an identity except for, oh, it's Adam's Family, so there's gonna be Adam's Family's type things in it.
Hmm.
So I felt like it was okay, but I felt like it needed more of an identity to kind of break out of the cliches that it presented. And I don't think cliches in movies are bad per se, but there needs to be like a pretty spot on presentation, and for me, it just wasn't there.
I feel you. Yeah, no, I agree with you. I still liked it though.
That's totally valid. That's
I can't help it. I can't help it.
that's totally
Okay, so the next one I wanted to talk about, and we'll talk about, I think this talk about this one a little bit more later also, is Raya and the Last Dragon. Now this has two directors, Don Hall and Carlos Lopez Estrada, and this is being put out by Disney, and this has a release date of March 2nd, I mean 12th, March 12th. Now, this is also going to be a day and date release for Disney Plus, but this is going to be one of their premium video on demands. They didn't put out a price of how much they were going to put this out there for. I'm thinking they're going to do like they did with Mulan and around the $30 price point. Questions about that. First one, how do you feel about them doing the day and date release for this movie? Also, regular questions like how do you feel about the animation and everything? And then also, do you think $30 is a good price point for a movie like this?
okay. So recently you got Soul, and then you had Wonder Woman 1984, and I feel like they just kind of let it be. Oh, hey, if you got the service, you get to watch it. It comes on your bill as it normally would. And since it is Disney, and since I talked about WB, I feel like if they have that as their approach, I think that's a little bit better. Now I understand that this is a different film coming out much later, and it doesn't really help. Same with a bunch of the other animated movies that came out this year or got pushed back. A lot of the merchandising already came out, so they can't really do too much about that. So
Mm-hmm.
on top of merchandise sales and ticket sales, the $30 price range is a little bit understandable, but in terms of like video on demand, I think it should be at least maybe $25 at best. I think that's like a little bit reasonable because it's not like you're getting a Blu-ray where it's like about that price range and you're
Mm-hmm.
getting like special features and all that.
Right
But
on.
since none of that's there, I think it should be a little bit lower, but still, decently high.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I do think that, especially when you bring up that DVD thing, I totally forgot about the whole DVD thing because I don't do DVDs anymore. I used to have a buttload of them. They're in the basement somewhere. Um, but yeah, no, that's a good point. For me personally, for instance, Mulan, the price point was just fine for me because I bought that sucker and that was like way cheaper than going to the movies for me and my family, because I was planning on taking my family to that. And then when we go to the movie, it's like $50 minimum, and that's if we don't get like tickets and then like a thing of popcorn and a soda to share. So it's for me, that's perfect. I'm all like $30, that's like nothing. So as far as this movie goes, the animation goes, how do you think it looks?
It definitely looks very different. And
Mhm,
before this movie ever came out, they had the storyboards
mhm.
for what the movie would look like. And I'm a huge sucker for Disney storyboards and concept art, which ever since Frozen 2, they've been using this Golden Book art style, which I really love. Like, if you ever go into a bookstore or whatever, I
Mhm.
highly recommend looking at either DreamWorks or Pixar or Disney's Golden Books, because it's practically what the storyboard artists have to do to create the storyboards, and it's really pretty. But looks very different, and I definitely like the approach they're going for it. It doesn't feel like the other Disney movies we've seen from them, especially in the Disney princess realm.
Mhm. Right on. Yeah, no, I'm looking forward to it. That's one of my movies I'm looking forward to. So we will talk about that movie in a little bit. The next one I want to talk to you about is Space Jam: A New Legacy. This is being directed by Malcolm D. Lee. It's being put out by Warner Brothers, and it has a release date of July 16th. It's also starring LeBron James. I don't know who's going to be doing the voice acting of the characters of Bugs
It's the
Bunny
original
and
voice cast
what was
that
that?
they've been for the Looney Tunes and everything. It's the original voice cast that they've
Oh.
been using for the past couple of years.
Right on. That's super fun. I don't know how old you are, but I'm old enough to remember when this movie came out, and the first movie came out in theaters, and I loved it. I have since watched it. I think I watched it either this year or last year. I went to a thing in Chicago. It was a podcast, and they were reviewing that movie, and I rewatched it, and it doesn't hold up. So I'm very
I
curious. Go ahead.
Oh, go ahead. Say
No,
that
I was
last
just
part.
gonna say I'm very curious to how they modernize that story and make it
Right. So
different.
for me, I was born in 1999, so this movie came out way past the point I was born. But I can tell you this: I watched that movie so much on VHS. I destroyed it because I watched it way too many times, so we bought another one, and I don't have it anymore. But I had a talking poster
Well, that's cool.
of the movie. So I really like the movie. I will say this though, I like Back in Action just a little bit more, but Space Jam
Oh, right
does
on.
have definitely a nice little nostalgia feel to it for me, and I really like it. It's more of a guilty pleasure than anything,
For sure.
because it's not great, but I like the 2D animation that's being presented,
Hmm.
and most of the presentation does definitely work.
Right on. Plus, I love movies like that and like Roger Rabbit, where you have like this real life element, and then you add,
Yes,
these
definitely.
animated characters on top of it. It's so cool, but the story wasn't it wasn't that great.
In
All
terms
right.
of
So then the next one I want to talk about is uh The Boss Baby Family Business. And this is the sequel to Boss Baby. This is being directed by Tom McGrath. It's being put out by DreamWorks Animation, and it's being released March 26th. Did you like the first one? And how do you feel about this second one?
Okay, so I've never seen the first Boss Baby. I've seen bits and pieces of the Netflix show.
Oh,
Um,
Netflix show.
it's interesting. Didn't really catch my eye, but I definitely sometime this year I'm willing to give the first one a go. But from the trailer, I ever since Trolls World Tour came out, I've
Mhm,
definitely noticed DreamWorks has kind of gone back to using the Madagascar slapstick overly cartoony approach,
mhm.
which for Trolls World Tour, it looked really great. And it seems like they're doing it here for Boss Baby too. And I really like that, especially if they're gonna exaggerate dialogue and a lot of the action scenes. And with that alone, I'm interested to see what it's gonna do.
Right on. I do like the first one, except spoiler for you. They're like adults in the end of it. Because it's like all done told through like narration or whatever.
Yeah, I
So
knew
I'm
that. And you have Tobey Maguire playing Tim, except for he's not voiced by him in the second one.
yeah, I'm just very curious as to I don't know. I don't know. Like if they're gonna if they're adults in this next one, although the main the Alec Baldwin baby is the still on the poster and stuff, but we shall see. We shall see.
Yeah.
So the next one I want to talk to you is about Luca, and this is being put out by Disney. Um, or is that Pixar? Shoot, I didn't write that down. Oh, yes, I did. Yes, I did. This is being put out by Pixar. This is coming out June 18th. This is being directed by Enrico Casa. I've only seen a couple of storyboards or whatever. I did see a lot of talk online if this was going to be a Ponyo ripoff. And if it is, shame on Disney for ripping off Ponyo. And because they've kind of gotten this thing where people will find like Japanese animation and anime and stuff, and they'll be like, "Hey, you ripped off Lion King. It's this animated show like a million years ago." And
Disney distributed Ponyo, so that's kind of funny.
Well, like I love how they always goes like they're always like, well, one of the animators had they had this great story, and this is their story, and they're like, yeah, did he have this story after he watched Ponyo? So, like,
Well, that's the first thing I've heard about that movie.
mm,
Everyone else on the internet's like, "Oh man, is this Call Me by Your Name?" Even though they're clearly not going to go for that at all whatsoever.
they would not, and if there is, I hope there's not a peach in this
Oh,
movie. Okay. Um, and then the next one is Blazing Samurai. Now, this is being directed by Chris Bailey. It's being put, the distributor is Styx, and this still has a to be decided date for 2021. And this is like about like a samurai cat. Um, I haven't seen too much about this, but I think that
weird.
Styx is very like wishy-washy. Like sometimes
Well,
they
all
do.
Styx did was um, Ugly Dolls, and I think they also distributed Playmobil movies. So while I did like both of those movies, they're not really anything people will go, "Oh, I know you," because those
Mm,
movies didn't exactly garner an audience.
for sure. Yeah,
But
I did not
I
see.
recommend doing this after this video.
Mhm.
Type that in and type in Pan Pizza or Rebel Taxi, because this movie's development cycle has been so interesting, because this movie was supposed to come out in 2017, but
Hmm.
that clearly never happened. Also, this movie's based on the old movie Blazing Saddles, and they just
Right on.
decided to just change it into a, I'm guessing, PG uh, animated animal movie where they're all a bunch of samurais. I'm kind of curious to see where it goes, because Blazing Saddles is not a movie for kids, so
For it is not.
I'm kind of curious to see where that goes. Like, because when I hear that they're changing this, I'm not sure what rating that movie was. I think it was PG-13, but I'm not totally sure. But they're taking that and making it into a PG kid friendly movie. And when I hear that, and I've seen Blazing Saddles, I don't have too much of a huge memory of it, but I
Mhm.
remember most of it. And something tells me we might be on Shark Tale level of presentation.
Mm,
So,
that's a good
but
example.
yeah, let's use that as an example of like kids movies also wanting to be for adults but don't quite get the mark quite yet. So I feel like it might be that, but I'm interested to see where this goes, mostly because of the development how the movie went through.
Right on. Um, the next one I wanted to talk about was Wish Dragon. This is by Chris Appelheng. Appelheng. Gosh, I'm sorry. I'm bad with names. I'm not good. And this, so the production companies this are in the US, it's Sony, and then in China, it's Base. I think that's how you say it. And then this also has a to be decided release date. Um, I think this movie looks super fun. It's about a boy and a dragon that can grant wishes and everything. It's being voiced by Jackie Chan, and I don't remember who else the other person was. But I think that this looks super fun, this movie, and I'm quite excited about it. What do you think about this movie?
The style's really cute. I definitely like how they animate the dragon. I definitely like what I've seen so far. I hope it gets released in the US because I think Sony definitely needs this under their belt because this definitely looks something different. And one thing I like about Sony is if they don't quite make the mark, aka the Emoji Movie or something as early as open season,
Mm.
there's something interesting there. And I feel like in recent years, they've definitely done a lot of interesting things. Like, for example, they're kind of like the one studio that pushes extreme cartoony facial features and expression and movement. And I can definitely tell a lot of studios are definitely kind of following in Sony's footsteps in that one. And then, of course, you got something like Spider-Verse, which is like something we'll never see in a long time except for like a sequel and stuff. So they're definitely experimental. I definitely like that. And I definitely hope that this movie makes it into the US.
Right on. Sorry. Again, I'm writing down a question. Yeah, no, that's a good point. So the next movie I want to talk about is Sing 2, directed by Garth Jennings. The production company is Illumination Studios, and it's got a release date of December 22nd, 2021. Did you see Sing 1? Did you like it? What do you think about them making a Sing 2? And what do you hope to see in this one?
So I did see the first Seeing movie. I will say this, and this isn't the movie's fault, it's just mostly because of the animation community was a weird time, and I kind of followed in their footsteps a little bit. So I kind of forgot my opinion on Seeing. Um, from what I've seen, it's like a mixed bag, really. You either like it, you hate it, you're in the middle. Um, but I can say this, I definitely, from what I remember, I definitely liked a lot that it had. I definitely loved that it was a jukebox musical. I definitely liked the music that it had. I felt like the voice cast did a really good job on it. I will say this though, I really hope Sing 2 in like the second trailer, they don't spoil every single plot point because that was the biggest issue Sing 1 had in its very first
Mm,
trailer. And I will say this, I feel like because of that, I think to some extent they were trying to go for that Oscar that year,
mm,
mostly because of how that second trailer kind of presented itself. So if they're trying to do that again, which I've definitely heard the I think it was like the director kind of say that it was different, I definitely think that they kind of need to definitely raise the bar and somewhat of the stakes a little bit higher and try to make it a different and new experience. And I could
mhm,
definitely see that with the voice cast. But I'm kind of curious to see where they would definitely take the second one.
mhm,
It does kind of feel like maybe we might be into like a pitch perfect situation. And
mm.
if so, I'm pretty down for that.
Right on. I agree. I agree. That's a good example, Pitch Perfect. I did like the first one. I like it a lot. Because it's got singing, and who doesn't love animals singing?
Right.
And then the last movie I want to talk about is Hotel Transylvania 4. Now, I have to be honest, I didn't see the third one because I was all Transylvania'd out. I did like the first one. I thought the second one was a little and everything, but I didn't continue with the series after that. But I did like the first one very much. But I don't know if this is again one of those things where it's like, the same joke told over and over again. You're like, it's not funny anymore. I'm not having fun, so I'm not even going to listen anymore. What do you think about this?
So for me, I've always loved the Hotel Transylvania series, mostly because Gendy Tartakovsky, the guy who made Dexter's Lab,
Hmm.
Samurai Jack, and Star Wars The Clone Wars, the 2D animated series,
Hmm.
he's on board with it. And he was the first person from TV animation in the modern day to move up to theatrical animation. And the way he used 2D and blended it to 3D, you could see it change each and every film. And I feel like the slapstick and the humor is very on point. That's
Mhm.
kind of humor subjective. So that's kind of like, as you said, your Hotel Transylvania out. I
Mhm.
really liked the third one,
Mm.
mostly because it wasn't really following too much of a plot line. It just kind of let jokes and visual gags kind of carry it throughout. And I
Mhm.
remember when I saw it, the aspect ratio was in old school TV format. I forgot,
Mm.
but like shows like Dexter's Lab in its format that it used to be in, not widescreen.
Mhm.
And it felt like I was like literally watching a cartoon on Cartoon Network. And
Right
I
on.
like that laid back feeling. So if you're gonna watch the third one, definitely experience in home because I think you're gonna enjoy it a lot more.
Right on. I'll have to
From what I've
try it.
heard, Gendy's, I think he's on it, but he's not like a director or something. I think Selena Gomez is taking over, and there's like a lot new people working on it.
Mhm.
And I definitely think if the franchise is going forward, I definitely think it definitely needs new blood and definitely Selena taking over, mostly because she plays Mavis. So I
Mhm.
definitely think that it'll be good just because of that alone, just because it's taking it into different places. I'm not sure if it's a Christmas movie anymore or what the plot is anymore because it's been changing a lot.
Right on. It does have a release date of August 6th. So I don't know if that's still a go for that one. That's just what I saw online and everything. And I did some heavy research. I Googled. So um, okay, so those are the only movies that I wanted to talk about, kind of a mixture of different studios and different animation styles. What I wanted to ask you now, personally, what are some of the animated movies coming out in 2021 that you're looking forward to the most?
Honestly, Minions Rise of Gru because that was
Mm,
supposed to come out last year. So I was really excited for that. And everything else, I guess, we kind of touched on here. I'm just kind of interested to see where things go really from here.
right on. Well, I had four movies, and we did talk about two of them. One of them was Wish Dragon. As soon as I saw the trailer, I was all like, "Oh, I want to see this movie! Like hardcore, it looks really good."
Yeah, me
I don't
too.
know if I have a thing for dragons and everything, but I do think that movie looks good. I like the whole wishy thing. I like how he that like Jade Pot. I don't know if you saw the trailer, but the Jade Pot, I,
Yeah, I
I
have.
liked that and
Yes.
everything. Plus I like Asian culture. It's very like what's a good word to use? Like kind of like elegant, but in like an old school kind of way. And I
Right.
just really like it, like the way things look. Like I like the way the dragons look. In fact, Raya and the Last Dragon is another one of my picks.
Yes.
I just
Same.
like the dragons, how you've got the head and then you just have this long snake-like body. Speaking of Raya and the Last Dragon, I think that movie looks fantastic. I think that even though we only got like one trailer and it was like, like they barely like showed us like anything.
It reminds me of Moana. Definitely, it's not
Mm,
like your Frozen's and everything before that. And I definitely like that direction.
right on. And then I also like a lot of people made the distinction at the beginning. Is she kind of looks like Katana or Korra from The Last Airbender.
Yeah, I heard that a lot.
Yeah, and but it's so true because that was my immediate reaction when I saw her. I was like, "Oh, she looks like Cora and everything." And so then another one was Connected, and that's about a
Oh,
father.
I honestly forgot about that. And the reason why I keep forgetting about that is Sony doesn't know when they want to release this thing.
Right
So I
on.
didn't really consider it really a movie just because they just don't know what to do with it. But yeah, no, I'm totally hyped for that one visually and directors and everything like that.
Yeah, no, I like the father-daughter story because I got two kids and my oldest one's my daughter and everything, and me and her are like this. So I'm excited to see that and everything. I'll probably cry. And then the last one that I'm really looking forward to is Batman Soul of the Dragon. I'm a big nerd. I love comic book movies, and Batman's such a great character. And this one's set in the 70s, and it's got a lot of Asian characters from the comic books. And it'll be really cool to see, that story and that kind of animation style and everything. I'm quite excited about it.
Well, my name's Speed Force Spector, so that's kind of a dead giveaway right there. But I didn't know this was a theatrical movie.
I don't think it is, but I'm still looking forward to it.
That's so cool
Um,
though.
it is. In fact, I'm like 99% positive it's not a theatrical release movie. Okay, so I wanted to ask you, and I just wrote this down because we were talking. What is your favorite animation studio, personally?
Ooh, that is definitely a tough question because I feel like each studio definitely, even when they have their shortcomings, they definitely have their own style of presentation and what they want to do. But I guess I would probably have to say I'm not going to choose one,
Hmm.
but I'll definitely say definitely DreamWorks and Disney, and to add a third one, I would say probably Sony.
Right on, right on. For me, I like Linka
Oh
a
yeah,
lot.
they're great.
Yeah, no, I love that. I love stop motion animation. I just like I love Kubo and the Two Strings. I thought that
That's
movie
my
would be
favorite
so
too.
stupid, and I watched and I was like, "This is good. Why aren't they making more movies like this?" I was like,
It's a
"This studio
shame
gets it."
it's not the studio's fault. It's mostly uh I hate to say the term, but just US moviegoers.
Mm,
Stop
for sure.
motion just not for them. I feel like it's kind of, if we brought 2D animation back, I'm sure it'll do fine, but general audiences might be just a bit taken back. But I
Mm,
definitely think that if anything, stop motion and other animation styles definitely need to be in the forefront of US animation because
hmm.
every other studio is doing it outside of the US. So I think if the US experimented a bit more, I think more general audiences would definitely get used to it and be like, oh, okay, I'll definitely see that.
Right on. I agree. I agree. I don't know what they're doing next, but I'm quite excited for it because I do enjoy their movies a lot. And the last thing I want to talk to you about is, what do you think about the future of animation going forward? And what do you think, like, as far as like style goes? Do you think there will be more competition? Do you think that competition is getting harder slash better? All that good stuff.
In terms of competition, I think in given the current climate of everything right now, with the world, I definitely think that we're just gonna see just all the studios we've listed and a couple more. I definitely think they'll definitely be around and definitely experiment a bit. I don't think it's kind of hard to really say what studios are gonna do because the Lego movie, like um, Spider Verse, you don't really know what you're gonna expect,
Hmm.
especially with development time and everything like that and art styles. But I definitely think that seeing as how like I brought up, the Lego movie, Leica and other studios like that, and definitely Spider Verse, I definitely think when people see what works and what amazes audiences, I definitely think that we'll see boundaries being pushed, but not 100%, just a tiny sliver of a bit.
Right on. Yeah, I think I would like to see some more like animation studios like work together. For instance, Disney on their Investor Day. I don't know if you watched their animation stuff, but they talk about how they were going to do this movie Iwaju, I believe it was pronounced, and they were working with I believe they're an animation studio in it's called Kugali, and they mostly focus on African artists and African stories, but they're doing this movie, and they mostly do like comic books and stuff. But they said they wanted to give Disney a run for their money, and Jennifer Lee was like, well, we heard you and everything, so they're going to be working with them. My only if you I don't know if you saw I only saw the one picture of it, but it looks very African futuristic, and the only problem with that I have is that'll get lost up in the Wakanda talk. And
Well, you brought this up earlier. You compared Raya to Korra
mhm.
earlier, and it's just mostly because people aren't used to those cultures. So, of course, they're going to reference or say, oh, this is a ripoff or other things like that, and not really 100% know cultural impact, designs, and things like that. So, I think, of course, that's going to happen. But I definitely think when people actually give, something like Raya and this movie a chance, they're gonna realize, oh, I was completely wrong.
Right on. So if you guys want to check out Speed Force Spector, he's got his own YouTube channel. You can check him out at Speed Force Spector on YouTube. It's a really great channel. I suggest you guys check it out. He's always posting stuff about animation. I find his humor very funny. There's one video he talked about his parents living on a planet with like half rabbit people. Anyways, go check out his stuff. It's really great. And if you're if you like what you see here, go ahead and hit that like button. I won't mind. If you're new to my channel, please hit that subscribe button. I'd greatly appreciate it. And I will see you guys on the next video. You guys have a good day. Bye.